The latest MAGA Civil War is rapidly escalating and starting to resemble an over the top 1990s wrestling match, with yet another top Trump advisor publicly lashing out at shadow president elect Elon Musk. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, of all people, entered the ring on Musk's behalf, and we have to talk about all of it. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have several things to talk about in this video. This is a follow-up to the ongoing, ever-escalating MAGA Civil War. Before we get to some of the clips, I want to remind you about what's going on, courtesy of Axios, which always has like pretty handy primers, relatively short for context. MAGA Civil War breaks out over American mediocrity culture. A MAGA world civil war erupted over Christmas when a social media post on American culture turned into a pitched battle over race, immigration, and billionaires versus the working class. The fight exposes one of the MAGA movement's deepest contradictions. It came to prominence chiefly via the white, less educated working class, but is now under the full control of billionaire technologists and industrialists, many of them immigrants. It also sets up a tense MAGA versus Doge moment that could infect the early stages of Trump's second presidency. While some want to make America great by restricting immigration and promoting the American worker, others want to cut costs and increase efficiency, no matter who does the work. The skirmish just started Sunday when a Trump-named venture capitalist, Sriram Krishnan, I'm sure I butchered that name, unfortunately, as his advisor on AI policy. Krishnan's appointment triggered an anti-Indian backlash on social media, particularly given his past advocacy for lifting caps on green cards. Vivek Ramaswamy escalated the conflict into a full-blown war Thursday morning with a post on X blaming an American culture that, quote, venerated mediocrity over excellence for the growth in foreign tech workers. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers, Ramaswamy wrote, calling for a 1950s-style Sputnik moment to prioritize nerdiness over conformity. Quote, that's the work we have cut out for us, rather than wallowing in victimhood and just wishing or legislating alternative hiring practices into existence. Elon Musk's X is the town square for the MAGA movement, and by stepping into that square and firmly criticizing American culture while praising the immigrant work ethic and parenting model, Ramaswamy threw down a gauntlet. Musk spent most of the afternoon trying to defend his Doge co-leader and explain his argument, framing it as using immigration to supplement rather than replace American workers. Maybe this is a helpful clarification. I'm referring to bringing in via legal immigration, the top 0.1% of engineering talent as being essential for America to keep winning. The problem for many MAGA adherents, though, was accepting the very notion of immigrants telling them America needs more immigration to fill lucrative jobs in America. It revived old tensions around the H-1B visa, which is reserved for people who, quote, perform special services in a specialty obligation, but practically speaking has become a crucial tool for Silicon Valley's growth. So again, this provides crucial context. Now, we already heard what Laura Loomer, a top Trump confidant, had to say about Elon Musk, which apparently resulted in Musk retaliating against her X/Twitter account, right? But the person to whom she spoke, top Trump advisor and MAGA cheerleader Steve Bannon, also has his opinions on this, and he lashed out at Elon Musk as well.
DC, hang on. First off, it's not different. It's populist nationalists versus elite globalists. And when you say we're going to work this out, you guys, I'm going to get Loomer's on here. She's banned. They're trying to ban Gavin Wax. You're going to be banned eventually by the free speech absolutist. The nerds don't take criticism. They're kind of, they're a little bit all on the spectrum, right? So they don't know, they're not deep in social skills. And I say, you can't run a country by algorithm. You can't run a country by the nerds that create their companies all employ a handful of people, right? And they're all they're all mathematicians, all about algorithms. You can't run a country like that. We're a country, not an economy. And people say, "Oh, Steve, you're condemning us to be a third world nation." Anything but the American people rise to the occasion, and they're rising to the occasion now. But you can't sit there and tell the American people this is a problem. We have a capitalist system with no capitalist. It's a concentration of wealth and power. And now you're seeing what they're doing with this, not just illegal immigration. Look, folks, they just brought 15 million people into the country. I was on David Sachs's show on the on election night, and I told the guy, hey, yeah, we're going to deport all 15 million. He freaked out. He seemed like a pretty good guy, but I think this is the guy that put out yesterday's tweet, said we want 1 billion people in the United States, bring in 5 million a year. No, we do not, and not going to have 1 billion people in the United States of America. People already say we're kind of overcrowded right now, particularly out west. The folks are saying, hey, way too much people. You have a bizarre idea of what this country is, no understanding of how we got here, and no idea of what we are going to be in the future. We are not going to be some anarcho-libertarian, big tech, run by big tech oligarchs. That is not going to happen. Okay? We haven't fought all these wars and haven't gotten here to give it over to a bunch of geeks that you would stuff and that they're all reacting, being stuffed in the locker in high school. They're having a reaction. DC Drano.
So, and he's talking to a right-wing account called DC Drano. You should see this guy on Twitter. This dude is just unhinged. But there you go. You have Steve Bannon, who is a top MAGA influencer and Trump advisor, lashing out at Vivek Ramaswamy, David Sachs, and Elon Musk as geeks that they would stuff into a locker over immigration. Okay? Going back to that Axios article, that this is exposing and bringing to the forefront a major dissonance, a major contradiction within the MAGA movement that is almost certainly irreconcilable, because you have white nationalists and just nationalists, period, who by definition have a bigoted sentiment towards immigration, a sense of xenophobia and hostility, versus those people like David Sachs, Elon Musk, and Vivek Ramaswamy, who are willing to tolerate such sentiments or even try to exploit them for short-term political gain, but don't necessarily believe those sorts of things and want to exploit immigrant labor for their own purposes. In a sane movement, these two notions would be irreconcilable. And there's no telling where Trump will fall on this. But you also have somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene. And this is where it gets really interesting, because she has been on Steve Bannon's show multiple times. She's a close ally of Steve Bannon, counts him as a friend. And yet she seems to be taking Elon Musk's side in this situation, Vivek Ramaswamy's side in this, the Doge side in the Doge MAGA Civil War. Marjorie Taylor Greene wades into MAGA Civil War over need for migrant workers. Here's some tough reality. Marjorie Taylor Greene weighed in on the MAGA Civil War over immigration on Friday after Vivek Ramaswamy kicked a hornet's nest on the right the day before by arguing that the U.S. needs to import high-skilled workers as American culture has led to mediocrity in the population. Greene, never one to miss out on a culture war fight, offered her thoughts in a lengthy post trying to stake out a middle ground. Good gracious, I came out of Christmas bliss to see arguments about American labor versus H-1B imported labor, and a MAGA is split on the issue. Good, that means everyone is engaged in saving this country. Here's some tough reality for some of you. There are some big MAGA voices with large social media platforms throwing down their opinions, yet they have never run a company that relies on thousands of skilled/highly trained workers with a constant need for reliable labor, yet they claim authority over the subject matter. When you spend years trying to constantly hire, train, maintain a good, reliable workforce, which is a 24/7, never-ending cycle, your real-world experience will produce an opinion based on reality, and all of your followers on X don't translate into this. Greene appeared to be taking aim at the likes of Laura Loomer, who slammed Elon Musk for defending the H-1B visa. Axios reported on Friday that Loomer, along with New York Young Republican Club president Gavin Wax and InfoWars host Owen Schroyer, all said that their verification badges disappeared after they criticized Musk's support for H-1B visas, railed against Indian culture, and attacked Ramaswamy, Musk's Doge co-chair. Greene went on to agree with some of Ramaswamy's points about American workers not being prepared to succeed. Too many of our young people are killing their bodies and minds on alcohol and drugs, wasting years and money earning useless college degrees, chasing unrealistic dreams, spending all their time trying to be the next YouTuber, content creator, social media influencer. Marge, are you taking shots at me? Instead of pursuing a useful skill set, trade, education in order to become part of our much-needed American workforce. If you fall into this category, put down the selfie light and go apply for a job and replace the H-1B visa holders and all the other skilled labor jobs that foreign workers are taking and American companies are desperately trying to hire. Called building a career. You work your way up. In order to go forward, we must change our education system, create a culture that respects hard work and productivity, cut government waste spending regulations in order to produce a healthy, robust economy that lowers inflation and pays higher wages to an American workforce so that the H-1B visa is no longer needed and can be done away with. Greene's take on the issue quickly found criticism on the hard right, as many called it out of touch. Below are some reactions to Greene's post, including some who thought that she threaded the needle between both sides of the debate. The U.S. tech workers Twitter page. Marjorie Taylor Greene's tweet on the H-1B visa issue reveals just how out of touch she is with the reality faced by American workers. Contrary to her stance, there is clear evidence that companies are using H-1B visas not to supplement, but to replace qualified American workers with cheaper foreign labor. In many cases, as part of their severance agreement, these American workers are even forced to train their H-1B replacements, a humiliating and demoralizing ritual that highlights the true impact of this policy. Marjorie Taylor Greene's statement fails to acknowledge these harsh realities and perpetuates a dangerous misunderstanding of how the H-1B visa program is being exploited, leaving many workers to feel betrayed and powerless. Brandon Walsh says, guys, it's really simple. They don't care about Americans. They just want really cheap serfs. Stephen Dennis points out Marjorie Taylor Greene tries to stake out a middle ground on the MAGA immigration wars. Respectfully, your tweet on the H-1B visa reveals just how out of touch you are with the reality faced by American workers, etc., and so forth. Interesting. So, why would Marjorie Taylor Greene do this? Is it because she genuinely believes in what Vivek and Elon have to say? Maybe. I think it's also fair to consider that she is reportedly going to chair a subcommittee under the House Oversight Committee in Congress that will work with DOGE. It's supposed to be the DOGE Committee, the Department of Government Efficiency Committee. She would be the chair, and she'd be working very closely with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy as part of this, comprehensive effort to, review government spending and regulation. So, very much, at least in the short term, she probably sees her short-term political future aligned with the success or failure of Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy in the MAGA movement. So it's really hard to figure out where some of these people, what they actually believe, because it's just the MAGA movement has become a nexus of contradiction that is not so easily sorted out. Now, in the past, what sorted all this out is a cultish loyalty to Donald Trump, right? You set principle aside, if you're neoconservative like Marco Rubio, or if you're, a far-right lunatic like Laura Loomer or Marjorie Taylor Greene, or if you're just a grifting technologist like, Elon Musk, the common thread, the least common denominator is loyalty to Donald Trump. But then there's serious questions about how much currency that has these days. And it's not certain that Trump will be able to navigate these tensions, right? Now, as a reminder, I just want you to, because Steve Bannon referenced it, Marjorie Taylor Greene took a thinly veiled shot at her former friend, current arch rival, Laura Loomer. I want you to hear a couple of things that Laura Loomer had to say about Elon Musk.
Laura, real quickly, he's a free speech absolutist. The platform's supposed to be about free speech absolutism. What is your current status, ma'am? What has happened to you on that platform?
Well, if he's a free speech absolutist, why was my account suspended? Why was my verified premium account taken away from me? So if you subscribe to me, thank you for your support, but you will no longer be able to subscribe to me because Elon Musk has suspended your ability to support my work because he doesn't like what I said. If you want to verify that my account is me and it's not some troll trying to pretend to be me, you're not going to be able to verify my account anymore because I have lost my verification, my blue check, because Elon Musk doesn't like what I said. I didn't dox anybody. I posted publicly available FEC records. I didn't incite violence against anybody. I am simply trying to warn the Trump administration about something that is going to blow up in their face. And it actually has the risk of potentially getting President Trump impeached in his second term if the Democrats take back the House and are successfully able to spin and create a narrative that big tech is trying to buy influence and that they are enriching themselves in the Trump administration. I'm trying to warn them about a serious issue on the horizon, and it needs to be taken seriously because clearly the MAGA base is up in arms about this today.
So what's interesting about that is the part there at the end. Now, we discussed in the previous video how hypocritical Elon Musk and quite frankly Laura Loomer and quite frankly the MAGA movement as a whole is when it comes to free speech. They are not free speech absolutists. They, like most other political coalitions, like most other politically active people, simply want to use power to enhance the speech that they agree with and suppress the speech they disagree with. That's simply part of human nature in one form or another. Some people are more overtly and nefariously censorious than others. And again, I think the Republican Party has cornered the market on this, but nobody's a free speech absolutist. And when they tell you they're a free speech absolutist, they're either so stupid that they don't understand what that phrase means, in which case you should distrust them, or they're lying to your face, in which case you should also distrust them. I really want to focus on the last part, though, which is Laura Loomer says, she has concerns about Elon Musk using the office of the presidency to enrich himself. By the way, that's what her cult leader, Donald Trump, did in term one. Donald Trump made money as a consequence of his presidency. He did not divest himself from his businesses. He did not disclose his financial records. He violated the emoluments clause of the Constitution multiple times by receiving foreign gifts and foreign payments from foreign dignitaries and foreign nations. All of these things, incredibly corrupt, incredibly unethical. She didn't give a damn. Steve Bannon didn't give a damn. Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't give a damn. Elon Musk doesn't give a damn. So it's ironic that she's lashing out at Musk over the very sort of behavior that Donald Trump gleefully exploited during his first term. But to her second point, of course people should be concerned about Elon Musk using this, because this is a complaint that's been going around that Musk is a potential national security threat given his financial investment in China, a foreign adversary. It's been reported that even though SpaceX, which is a contractor with the United States government, Musk, even though he owns the company, it's his company, he actually enjoys less security clearance than other people at SpaceX, even though they work for him in a part of his company, but he can't get the highest level of national security clearance. So there's credible reporting about the potential threat he poses. It was one of those things where these two awful people, these two awful factions represented by Musk and by Laura Loomer and Steve Bannon, Marjorie Taylor Greene, making some really interesting points in contradiction with one another. And this is where the MAGA movement is. This is the unfortunate part about a coalition which is comprised of so many contemptible elements that they all have beef with one another. I don't know how this movement can possibly sustain itself, but for the sheer cultish personality, or rather the sheer cult of personality that surrounds Donald Trump. But we are seeing increasing evidence that that's starting to fray at the edges. It'll be interesting to see where Trump falls in on this, but I think it's interesting that she's saying that Elon Musk is a potential liability to Donald Trump, such that if Democrats were to win the midterms, and God willing they do, that they will use it as grounds to impeach Trump. I'm not sure how that would be the case unless Trump were actively aiding and abetting Elon Musk enriching himself, or if Trump himself were engaging in that same corrupt behavior. But Laura Loomer seems to believe that Elon Musk will be the means by which House Democrats successfully impeach Donald Trump in his second term. Interesting stuff. Not sure what to think about that, but she's convinced of it. Of course, she's also a conspiracy theorist, but then again, so is Marjorie Taylor Greene. So folks, what the hell are we doing here? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments.